He's on the list there.
Okay. Okay, I see. All right, so we have our quorum. I'm going to call this meeting of the, actually, the first meeting we're having is a special meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Police and Firemen's Pension Fund. For the record, it is Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021, at 6:32 PM. And participating in the meeting in person, I have Commissioner McElroy, Commissioner Benedetto, Commissioner McLeod. On Zoom, I have Commissioner Cogswell, Commissioner Bingham. And for the police and fire trustee representatives, is it Nick Lettieri? And that's it. Okay. How about Dan Farley? Is Dan on? Okay. So, but I
Good
think
afternoon.
hi, Darlene. But I do
Hi.
believe is we do have a quorum though, right? Yeah, we're
Yeah.
good.
Ed's here.
Okay, we have a quorum, so we're good to go. Thank you. All right, item number 1 on the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular joint meeting.
So moved.
Thank you. Was that Commissioner Bingham?
Yes.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Battle. Are there any questions on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Abstain. Aye.
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 All right, and for the record, 1 abstention would be Commissioner Benedetto. Item 2. Is there 2 abstentions? No? Good,
Are
okay.
you here at the meeting?
At that meeting, yeah, the last joint meeting he was. Yep.
I think I was there too, wasn't I?
Yeah, he was here.
Yeah.
We have 2 pensions, right?
All right, moving on, this motion carries. Item 2, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Police and Firemen's Pension Fund, which was held on December 10th, 2020.
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Commissioner McLeod, seconded by Commissioner Benedetto. Questions or comments on the minutes for this meeting? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item 3. I'm sorry, Dan Farley is calling in. Dan, you're calling in to participate in the special meeting?
No, I guess Tony and I are on a different website or something that we logged in. Well, there was some login information. We're on there. I can hear him. He can't hear me. And we're the only 2 participants.
Okay.
So
So,
I'm not sure what we're doing wrong here, but
well, you're on the phone with me now. Do you want to just stay on the phone with me? I think we can manage this without Tony.
okay.
All right, good.
All right.
Thank you.
He can't hear me, so he's. Oh, yeah, wait. You're on everything. Yes. Yes. I can hear you.
I have you on speaker, by the way, Dan.
Okay.
Oh,
I've got Tony here.
okay,
I can hear him, but he can't hear me.
okay. I'm sorry.
Would you like me to send him a text message?
Yeah, just let him, yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what meeting you're on. You must be on Monday's meeting. So it doesn't matter. As long as you're on here, if there are any questions for Tony, we can, I can call him, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we're on item number 3 on the agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the recommended changes for the Police and Firemen's Pension Fund as presented by DeMeo, Snyder and Associates. And I believe that those recommendations appear in writing on what was page 50 of the pension fund presentation.
I had it the other night, so I don't have it with me.
Yeah, Glenn was at the other meeting Monday evening, so does everybody have that page? All right, are there questions? Because I can hang up on Dan and call Tony Trangisi into this if there are questions. So, and I'll just paraphrase what Tony was suggesting. In light of the current market conditions, he's recommending smoothing out our portfolio to reflect what he's seeing as a trend in what's changing in the market over the last quarter. So those recommendations were each itemized on that page 50 of the report. If there are no questions, then the motion, I'll entertain that motion to approve the recommended changes.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, yeah, hang on, here's Al.
Okay, so was that Commissioner Bingham that made the motion and Commissioner?
I mean, Bingham made the second.
Okay. So what do I have?
And I made the motion.
Okay, so I have a motion by Darlene Battle, a second by Commissioner Bingham, who was also at the meeting when Tony was making the presentation. So motion and second are made. Questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Tony's in now. All right, so Tony, there you are. So I guess they're all set. They read your book cover to cover. They have no questions.
Good job.
Perfect. That's the easiest
Yeah.
meeting of the year. Thank you.
Yeah. So we're good. And thank you very much for accommodating us on 2 nights this week. I greatly appreciate it.
No trouble at all. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Stay safe.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Dan, that's it for you too. I'm going to hang up.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thanks. All right, so item 4, I'll entertain a motion to accept the pension computation effective December 3rd, 2020 for Giovanni Guerrera, patrolman for the City of Torrington Police Department after 20 years of service.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Benedetto, seconded by Commissioner McLeod. Questions on the calculation or?
I just got a couple questions. Who do I ask? Dan Farley, the chief?
No, the questions would have to probably go back to our HR department, who did the calculations.
Okay. I'm just looking at both of these guys and, you know, a patrolman making 120,000 a year. It's a lot of overtime.
So I think, and you're right, and that's overtime. Extra duty doesn't get included in
Included.
pension
Just
calculations.
the overtime does.
Yeah. So it's more of an observation than a question.
Yes.
And what I can do is, we certainly can look at a report back on pension calculations in general, as opposed to particular to an individual who is
Yeah, look at
retiring.
overall.
All right.
I'm
Then on our next meeting, and John, if you can make a note of this, on our next meeting, we'll include an agenda item and invite HR to come in and just talk, you know, in general, what, you know, how that works. And also in context of a contract, you know, what we've done in the past to sort of rein any of those kinds of occurrences in. Are there other questions on this motion?
Mayor, yes, at Delisle Fire Department. We did not receive any of the computations in any of the emails.
So when the initial invitation to the joint meeting on Monday went out, you didn't receive the backup material?
No, I did not.
Um,
And BC Sterling did not either.
so I'm wondering, because these are police department retirements, is that why they wouldn't have gotten them?
We've gotten them in the past.
You have.
I didn't get one either. All I got was the items on who was retiring and how many years they had. I didn't, yeah, I thought I went through everything. I didn't see anything myself.
Oh. So Ed,
There
did
was
you
like
hear,
5 different.
did you hear that, Ed?
No, I did not.
All right, so when the agenda is posted and you're sent notice that it's been posted, if you scroll down to the agenda item and hit it, hit your cursor on it,
Okay,
it will pop up, it'll populate the underlying document for that agenda item.
okay. So can I go back and get them now or are they gone?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah, they're on the website.
they're all on the website on, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I don't know, did you want to look at that before I call the vote on that, Ed?
Unfortunately, the fire department cannot vote on it. I was just
Oh,
wondering.
that's right, it's police. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. All right, so other questions or comments on the computation letters that were sent out for this particular item? Hearing none, I'm going to call that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. And then item 5, I'll entertain a motion to accept the pension computation effective January 5th, 2021 for Vincenzo Calabrese, Lieutenant for the City of Torrington Police Department after 25 years of service.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Benedetto, seconded by Commissioner McElroy. And again, questions on this one?
I just got, you know what the base salary for a lieutenant is?
I don't have my budget book with me. Chief Baldwin, I don't know if that's something that you would know off the top of your head. Base salary for a lieutenant?
Cap, do you have that? I don't have it off the top of my head either. I'd have to review, I'd have to research that, Mayor. It's contractual.
All right, so,
I have a question too when you get a chance to.
yeah. So when we have HR come in, I think those are other questions that we're going to have her. So, yeah.
We have questions on the pensions, and my problem is that sometimes when we're voting to approve these, they've already been receiving them for 6 months.
Yes.
So I have a problem with the procedure. Not that anything is being done wrong, but if we find some issues with it, in the next review or whatever, they've already been receiving it. And then we have a bigger problem than what we can imagine,
Absolutely. Now, those are things that we have brought up in the past, because you're right. Sometimes these retirements.
We've gone almost a year sometimes.
Yes, yeah. What it is because it's a pension and it's paid on a monthly basis monthly basis. If in your review, you find a miscalculation in the calculation, or you have questions and call it into, we have recourse. Those adjustments can be made and recovery can be made if there's an overpayment.
Sure.
And if there's an underpayment, it can be corrected.
I've just seen in the past, not necessarily.
It has been.
Torrington,
I
the
agree.
biggest nightmare is trying to get money back.
Yeah. And
They can never get money from us, but
yeah. And because we actually issue those checks,
Yeah.
we can get it back if
Okay.
there's a mistake. But for the most, and I agree with you, nothing bothers me more than seeing a retirement that took place a year ago. And usually we would find those, especially with like the Board of Education. I'm looking at this, and this is a situation where it happened back in August of 2020.
yeah, I mean, I just assume at some point, if we can discuss it another time, even a special meeting, because basically that would have taken all of 10 minutes,
Mhm.
so.
And another special
Have a
meeting
special
just for
meeting at
that.
some point, just do it and be done with it. And,
No, I agree.
you know,
Instead of waiting for the quarterly Board of Trustees meetings,
yeah,
we could
it
do a
just,
special.
Did the captain,
it might cut off some problems.
Yeah.
did the captain get that salary?
So, so question back to the captain. I don't know if he was able to pull up the budget and get an answer for Commissioner Benedetto.
Yeah, it's base pay salary only is around 94-ish.
Thank you, Captain.
You got it.
All right, other questions on this motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, we're carried. There being no further business before the board, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner
Second.
Benedetto, and seconded by Commissioner McLeod. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Let's move right to our regular meeting. Okay, so for the record, it is now 6:47 PM, and I am calling to order the regular meeting of the Board of Public Safety. We're still in City Hall Auditorium. Participating by Zoom is Commissioner Cogswell, Commissioner Bingham, and Commissioner Battle. And present in the City Auditorium are Commissioner McLeod, Commissioner Benedetto, and Commissioner McElroy. Jumping right into item number 1 on the agenda, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting on January 6th.
So moved.
Second.
I heard Commissioner Benedetto, I heard Commissioner Bingham. And any questions or comments on these minutes? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
I abstain, Mayor.
One abstention would be Commissioner McLeod. All right, moving into item 2, I'll entertain a motion to accept Fire Chief Talley's report.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Benedetto, seconded by Commissioner McLeod. Questions on the motion?
Chief Talley, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yep, evening, Commissioner.
I just got a question on out-of-town responses. Since November, we've had 8 responses out of town.
Yes.
And I understand the whole mutual aid agreement. What I don't understand is when these towns send us firefighters, they're sending volunteers to us. So why don't we respond with our volunteers back, besides the hazmat?
Yeah, well, like you said, the hazmat, they're requesting the thing.
It's a
Most
team.
of those, yeah, the team. But a lot of those responses, what they're really looking, the response was for the aerial apparatus, not just for the staffing response.
Mhm.
And you know, when we're requested, we do respond. Just like when we have larger scale incidents, we're bringing in, you know, multiple departments to assist us. And you know, and the hiring back it's a contractual obligation to.
I know what I understand. I understand that whole mutual aid agreement. But we have 36 guys collecting overtime when we're sending our apparatus out of town.
Well, yeah, I mean, 4 per response. Yep. per
Yeah.
operation. No, that's accurate.
So is there any reimbursement from these towns?
Nope, there's no reimbursement from the towns.
Because they're sending us volunteers back.
I understand. Yeah,
I mean, I could see one or two times, but it's been 9 times.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you do see an ebb and flow with those sort of responses, and it's been a busy time period.
Yeah. And what we've done in the past is, Deputy Chief, maybe you'd help me out with this, is that we placed trucks on the line if they didn't need us, instead of sending guys to the scene.
These responses, we do that, Commissioner. So these responses we did respond to the line, and these are all responses where we were requested to the scene. These were not situations. We still do that process where our guys will respond to the line. We don't leave the city triggering that callback unless they're needed for the resources on scene.
Because I'm looking at the overtime. Our overtime is still up there, $48,000.
Yeah, no, the overtime. I mean, the biggest driving on the overtime is that shift coverage. It's not the the callback situation, even though that, that does factor in, it's a substantial factor, but it really is that shift coverage with the staffing where we're at. We currently have, 3 members that are off injured. So that's four members that are off injured. So that drives that coverage. Right when you're right down at that 11, 12 minimum, and you can have 3 people off on vacation contractually, and then you get some injuries. If you look through that overtime report, the biggest column and the biggest hours really is that shift coverage.
Mm-hmm. Okay, do we have any plans in the budget to address this?
Yeah, I mean, I will be I'll be seeking, additional spots to get new firefighters in to sort of help offset that overtime costs. But obviously you're supplanting an overtime cost with the personnel cost, right? But there is, my hope is to try to look to hire some individuals, which will help get them onboarded and trained before retirements start kicking in, but also serve as an offset on the overtime, because those, that'll reduce our average. Right now, we're averaging about 1.4 overtime hires per shift. So obviously, if we hire an additional person per shift, or hire 4 individuals, that'll reduce that down to 0.4 overtime shifts on average. So, but that needs to go through the budgetary process, and we will be moving that forward.
Yeah, my only concern is still the money it cost us to callbacks, and it doesn't cost the towns anything to send their apparatus because these guys are volunteers. So these towns are making out with our manpower, our tax dollars, with sending us volunteers. When we have volunteer departments that we could probably put a team together, send them,
Yeah, we're in a difficult situation because we're surrounded by all the volunteer departments, so we still need them to come in when we need them at a large incident. Regardless of our callback and stuff, we still need to have that process. I believe in that process. I understand there's a financial impact to it. I can look into various options and look into the matter, but like I said, these incidents will go months and months without any mutual aid response, and then we just see an uptick, a surge. We had the hazmat called out again today, so we had another mutual aid response for propane tank that got sheared off in Harwington. We do continue to monitor it. We still have the companies respond to the town line so that, we're only going if we're going to work. And we'll continue to do so.
Okay. And don't get me wrong, I feel highly on mutual aid. It's just putting a burden, I think, on our dollars. But thank you.
Yeah, I understand.
All right, the floor is still open for questions on the chief's report. Right, hearing none, I'll call this motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, I'll entertain a motion to accept Deputy Fire Chief Tripp's report.
So moved.
Second. Sorry.
Thank you, Commissioner Benedetto, and seconded by Commissioner McElroy. Are there questions on the report? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, I'll entertain a motion to accept Training Officer Shope's report.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Benedetto.
Second.
Second.
I heard Commissioner McLeod and a baby in Zoom.
Said Dustin.
Sorry.
So a motion made by Commissioner Benedetto, seconded by Commissioner McLeod. Questions on the report? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, I'll entertain a motion to accept the emergency management report.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner McElroy.
Second.
And seconded by Commissioner Benedetto. Questions on the report? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, I'll entertain a motion to accept Police Chief Baldwin's report.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Benedetto.
Second.
Second.
I heard Commissioner McElroy. Questions on the report?
Chief Baldwin, good evening.
Good evening, Commissioner.
Are we making any progress hiring?
Right now, we're at a standstill because there's no openings in any academy seats right now. So we can't we can't move forward until we have seats in the academy.
Okay. So we're short, what numbers are we at?
Right now, we're down 12. That includes 7 vacancies and 7 vacancies, 3 that are on light duty, 2 that are on light duty, and 3 that are out on workman's comp related injuries.
And how are they handling it? All right, no issues?
They're stepping up and doing what they have to do, but it does get exhausting after a period of time. But right now, the officers are they're hanging in there. They're coming to work as they're required to, and they're answering calls as they should. So they're doing well.
Are we trying to recruit any certified officers?
We are in the process of, we have an open application process for certified officers. And we are looking at potential certified officers. But again, that comes with some risk. Very bluntly, that what we don't want is we don't want another agency's problem. And sometimes that can be the case. So we have to be very careful as to how we go about looking for and hiring certified officers.
Okay.
The last certified officer we hired was Officer Stevens from New Haven, and he is doing exceptionally well. He's doing an excellent job for the city and for our department.
Great. Okay. Just one other question about lettering on the cars. I see 2 different, which style are we going with? Are we sticking with the old style? Or are we going with the new style?
No, we're going with the new style. We're getting rid of the black and white and going to the regular striping. That basically, we went to that design just to have a new look for the department. And also it's a cost savings measure. It does save us approximately $700 to $800 per vehicle when it comes to the wrapping of the black and white vinyls.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
The floor is still open. Questions from other commissioners? Hearing none, I'll call this motion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, I'll entertain a motion to accept the EMS provider activity report.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Benedetto.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner McElroy. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, I'll entertain a motion to consider business by the volunteer fire departments.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Benedetto. Seconded by Commissioner McLeod. And too many mix and McElroy and McLeod and so we're open. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
To our volunteers, we have presents from Torrington. Anything that you need to?
Waiting for our engine to come back and order things out. Hoping to get it back next week.
Good. All right. And I can't tell. Oh, yes.
Yep,
Chief
I'm here.
Macalis, you're there. Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm Chief Macalis from Drakeville, and it has just recently come to my attention, specifically last Wednesday, Friday timeframe, that I didn't realize you weren't getting reports about the volunteers specifically. So I would like to give an actual report. So for January, Drakeville responded to 5 fires. We had 3 practices, 6 work details, and our monthly meeting. In total, we have 80.75 hours of training time, including about 29 and a quarter hours of Target Solutions, which is our new online training metric. We've completed 30 Target Solutions training modules. And in total, we spent, the man hours for Drakeville has been about 202 hours this past month. Next month, I hope to get you an actual paper document or an electronic document for you to look at. So that way you can see what we're actually doing. And then the other thing I wanted to say was for the 5 fires that we did have, the first one was on Norfolk Road, and it was a tree down. We had three black helmet, 3 yellow helmet. We had a smoke detector going off on Babley Brook Road. We had 1 black helmet for that one. We had a standby for Industrial Lane. We had 4 black helmets and 1 yellow helmet. We had the structure fire on Wall Street, which was 2 black helmets. And then we had the Midgenav alarm, where we had 4 black helmets and 2 yellow helmets. I'm hoping to be able to get you, like I said, an actual document that shows all of this. This is the normal stuff that I document anyway, for our department. So that's kind of where we are right now. We did just get a brand new member, and we did go through our physicals last night, actually. So that's kind of where Drakeville is at this moment.
Thank you, Chief. Yeah, questions from the board?
Chief Mack, this question for you. On January 24th, did you guys respond to Goshen with your tanker for water supply?
We did not. We were not called.
They didn't call you?
I have been trying to reach out to them to ask why, because we were the closest department.
That's what I mean, and they needed water.
So I have been trying to reach out to them to ask why, and to see if we can do something, if there's something we've done that has caused them not to call us.
Okay.
I have not heard a response back yet. I'm going to keep trying.
Deputy Chief, when you sent our crew up to Goshen, we did water supply, correct? From the pond?
No, we did not. They called for the aerial.
Oh, for the aerial.
Yeah, we were inside the house on the 3rd floor.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions for Chief Macalis? And I'll just add, when the chief explained that he wasn't aware reports weren't being presented to the board, Chief Macalis, Torrington, Chief Towie, myself, Deputy Chief Tripp, and Corporation Counsel Vic Michelle have been reviewing the MOU that we have with our volunteer departments. And as we were going through that, a question about tracking their responses was asked, and Chief Macalis pulled up a spreadsheet that he does. And we all agreed it was an excellent document. And I think it answers a lot of those questions that we have month to month at these meetings. So I'm tremendously grateful. I believe he also shared it with Gary. And
I have not shared it with them yet. I'm still trying to, try to perfect it. So I'm working on that still, but I will be sharing it with them so that they can use the same.
And I like the idea of it being the same kind of report. That way it's something that the board gets comfortable receiving. And I think it's pretty important information, not just for the board, but I think for the public to hear. So
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to, but if I can share my screen, I can show you what that looks like right now.
yeah, do the board members want to see it?
Sure.
You're all good? All right. Yeah, if you don't mind.
So I'm hoping you can see that now.
We can.
Okay, so this is what I normally look at. This is actually for the last year, and I say the last year since June. So we go, because the way our tracking and the finances for the city go, we end up starting in June with this document, so I can give out a report in July. And this literally, it's not just fires. This goes through every practice we've been to, every work detail we have during our year at our firehouse to deal with things like, this says here, filling tanks, because we fill the tanks at the senior gardens, We sweep, we install rebar, whatever we need to do for maintenance around the firehouse. That's what this document is. So in January, as I said, we had 5 fires, and you can see the fires, they say F on the side here in column B. In column G, you can see how many black helmets and how many yellow helmets we've had for those fires. That shows you right there. The first number is black helmets, the second number is yellow helmets. It shows us how many hours that took, whatever the task was. That's a new thing I've been putting in here, so I don't have a lot of that information yet. Actually, I'm actually missing one here. But, and then it shows all of our members and who has been to what. And this goes by black helmet, yellow helmet, probationary members, explorers, and we also have our associate members in here. And then if I scroll over here and back to the top, I have everything calculated out. So for January, again, I just started putting in a little bit more information in since last week. But so January, this totals it up automatically for me. I had 5 fires, 3 practices, 6 work details, and 1 monthly meeting. And then I have here listed, it took us about 4.5 hours, total man hours to do the fire calls. We had 29.25 hours on target solutions. Total training hours, that's including the target solutions, was 80.75. Work detail hours were 74.5. Meeting hours were 13. Now this isn't, we spent 13 hours in meetings. There was 13 people at our 1-hour meeting. And then the total time there was 202 hours for us. And I have some information in from November as well, just because I forgot to put it in November. And so I back to it this month.
Thank you, Chief. So that's the document when he pulled that up that I thought might be helpful for the board to see that on a regular monthly basis.
If this is too much information, or if it's not enough, or it's not the right information, please let me know, and I'll be able to modify it to whatever your liking is.
Chief Mackless, as an Excel geek myself, I like this.
As you said, I'm a little bit of an Excel geek, so.
Maybe that's why I liked it, was an Excel spreadsheet. I'm right there geeking with you.
So I've even started putting in the run numbers for the fire calls. So they'll be easy to look up and really kind of document what's going on.
Thank you very much. And as I said, this is a document that would be new to Touring Forward, but if they can adopt some of the same tracking, which I think you're doing in a different way, then there's some consistency. And I think it's an exercise that will be well worth undertaking. All right, any other questions for Chief Mackless? All right, well then we will move on to, thank you again to both departments. Well, I'll move into item number 9. I will entertain a motion to accept the recommendation of the Fire Chief and the Vehicle Replacement Advisory Board to approve the purchase of the 2019 E1 HP 78 demonstration quint apparatus with the required modifications and equipment from Greenwood Emergency Vehicles in Attleboro Falls, Massachusetts, the total cost of which is $868,824.47 to be funded through the vehicle replacement account pending authorization of the Board of Finance.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Bingham.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner McElroy. The floor is open. Chief, I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about this particular apparatus and where we were in our vehicle replacement plan for this.
Yeah, so real quickly, the memo sort of lays out sort of some of the background and history, but we're replacing, currently for next fiscal year, we are scheduled to replace an apparatus which had a funding amount of $900,000. Our vehicle replacement committee in the fire department was in the process of bringing in demonstration units and looking at the different vendors and technologies to sort of work on developing that specification for, bid process and building a new apparatus for the city of Torrington. While we're going through that process, using consortium, Houston Galveston consortium pricing just as a benchmark to see where we sort of were, it was looking like that apparatus was going to be more in the $950,000 range. This demo unit that we're recommending, it was in town, that the committee did go through it. We had, equipment maintenance and involved with that process along with purchasing. It's a very nice apparatus. It actually has an upgraded aerial that we wouldn't otherwise be able to afford to spec out. It's that the aerial alone is probably about a $60,000 upgrade. It's the heavier duty aerial with the 825 pound to 750 pound tip load. So that demo became available at a very attractive price to where we could get the overall project cost, including the required upfit or modifications for Torrington, building an EMS cabinet and some other equipment mounting and modifications to the apparatus, and hose and loose equipment to make the apparatus ready to go in service and have it equipped for that $868,000 value. One of the benefits too is that we did determine while we're going through this, due to current build lags, if we were going to specify an apparatus, it'd be a 12 to 14 month build cycle to be able to get the apparatus in, where this unit will let us place the apparatus into service as soon as it is ready, we'll be able to place it into service. So another note, it will come with the original manufacturer warranties, like it was a new apparatus, and also have the 60-month extended warranty option included. And I don't know if there's any specific questions or concerns I could address.
Chief, thank you for reaching out the other day in our conversation about the vehicle replacement. I think it sounds wonderful. But one question I forgot to ask you about was, when these demo vehicles become available for departments to purchase, are there other departments that we would be competing against to acquire such vehicle?
Yeah, so until we commit to it, there is a potential that it could end up getting acquired by another department. The dealer we're working with is encouraging to sort of keep it on hold, knowing that we're sort of already in the process, and that dealer is hopeful. I mean, I think our dealer is really working to keep a hold on the apparatus, but ultimately if another dealer, somewhere else in the country has a prospective buyer, they could move on that.
Thank you.
Floor is open for.
I just have a quick question. Chief, I just want to commend your crew for doing a good job on this. You and Mr. Castro and the whole committee, you did a great job. The question I have is that 2007, where do we stand with that piece? Is there something wrong with that piece? Is it something that you have to get rid of it now?
So the 2007, we're not actually getting rid of, Commissioner. That's going to get moved into the reserve fleet. No, that apparatus still has plenty of life in it. It's a sound apparatus. It obviously is getting older. The one we're replacing is actually one of the reserve engines, which is a 2000, so 22 years old. So that the current apparatus, current engine 2 stationed at the north end, that'll get moved into our reserve fleet and will become the first callback piece out, which will, hopefully extend its life, because it'll, it's not obviously going to be used for frontline service, but it still is a solid apparatus that we are going to continue working in the city.
Mm-hmm. And I did some research, and it is a good deal. The problem I have is the timing. The pandemic's here. Businesses closing in the city. Taxes are still pretty high in the city. We're getting a new school. It's a big load, and I just want to know what it's going to do to our fleet account. Maybe Mr. Castro, you can help me out. Is it going to deplete that account, and how much is in that account?
From what I understand, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, from what I understand, this this apparatus has already been put off for 2 years. The monies have not been spent. They've just been pushed from one fiscal year to the next. The money is there and it will not deplete the account.
How much is in that count, sir? Do you know?
From what I understand, and Alice probably, if she's on board, she probably could speak better than this, but I believe we have 1.5 million in the account.
Is that accounting for the police command vehicle? Or is that money already taken out?
This is for the actual fiscal year.
Okay,
The command vehicle has already been paid for.
okay.
That's already been taken out. What happened was we pushed off the fire department vehicle to the 21-22, this coming fiscal year. And we had budgeted for $950,000. When we came upon this deal, we pushed it back to the prior fiscal year, which was only for $900,000, and it's coming in under budget by about $60,000 to $80,000.
Okay.
And Commissioner, just one thing to just point, those costs really are just the truck and doesn't include all the stuff. So we're actually saving money,
On equipment.
getting the which will release some strains on the other one. It's already been pushed back, which is just going to put a squeeze on the out years for our other vehicle replacements.
Mhm.
And the other thing I'd caution is, talking to a lot of manufacturers, they really saying we should figure in between 3% and 5% inflationary in the costing of these apparatus year to year. So, pushing it back a year would push that 925, 950 up 3 to 5%. And I understand the fiscal constraints. I do want to condemn my vehicle replacement committee. The guys on the fire department put a lot of hours, a lot of work in developing that spec, and everyone was excited about building an apparatus. To be honest with you, they had to sell me on this because I was with the history. I really was leery to sort of go the demo route. But when they presented the findings and we were able to really look at the deal and the actual apparatus and what it was, I did feel it was negligent. It would be negligent not to bring this forward just because of the fiscal situations. I do believe this is the most fiscally prudent plan here, understanding the constraints that we're in and about to face.
It's just a big number for me to swallow right now.
Understand, it's a big number, right? It's a big, but like I said all along, it's an investment, and I'm confident that this apparatus will serve the city well for the 20 year expected lifespan on the apparatus. So, but I do understand they're big numbers.
And if I may say so, actually we have a 15-year warranty on this vehicle. So in the long run, it's going to save the city a whole lot of money. Just, we won't have to put our hands on this unit.
Yeah, I understand. It's a good deal. I did some research on it and good engine. It's just the price tag at the timing. And I understand I've been on this board for a long time and we've pushed it, and I've known we pushed it, and the guys in the city deserve a new piece. But again, at this time, we're in a pandemic, people are losing their jobs, businesses are closing, and how's it going to look? We're going to spend $1 million to the taxpayers.
Well, I understand your concern.
And we
like
sent
I
the
said,
truck out 9 times out of town. So we're going to send this new piece out of town that our taxpayers are going to pay $1 million. Just points that I have to make. I've had some concerned people stop and see me today when they found out this was on the agenda, and they're not happy.
I understand it's a big number, Commissioner, but I would say it's, it's also, it's a number that we're going to have to pay eventually. And this deal does provide a savings over what the other, new apparatus options are. Now I know that is, it's still a big number regardless, but it's also a substantial savings over the, 950 number that we'd be looking at otherwise.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Mayor, I just wanted to comment, make a couple comments. And as much as I share the same concern, I remember that you and I had a little back and forth last year at budget season. And my comment was, because you had mentioned the pandemic and who thought we'd be talking that again this year. But point was, next year it's just going to be another thing. And the business of running a city, every year, there's going to be another issue. There's going to be another expense. They don't go away. So, and not only am I concerned about the money and the great job that they did to come up with the price on this, when the chief talked to me about it, the demo, as soon as he said demo, that scared the heck out of me. But at the same time, my concern is that it's the right vehicle to buy. I don't really care if, I do care, but the important thing to me is that it's the right vehicle. No matter what we pay for it, if it's not the right vehicle, it's not a good deal or a bad deal here, you know, and that is more my concern. And after talking to the chief and your report and everything, I'm comfortable that it is. But again, next month, we're gonna have another issue of some sort, you know, that we don't know about.
Yeah, so I know that when the chief and I spoke for several weeks about this, you're right, it's got to be the right vehicle. Torrington is a unique municipality. It's not all flat, we're in a valley. This vehicle has to be able to get up and down the hills, both on the east end and the west end. I think that this committee did a tremendous job, really vetting what they need, identifying what they need, and making sure that this vehicle does exactly what they need it to do. I agree. I think the cost is lower than what we expect, lower than what we projected, I should say. The funds are in the account. We have been saving towards this purchase over the last 20 years. Moving this up 6 months, into the current fiscal year, it does certainly bring the balance of that vehicle replacement account down. I think we'd be below $500,000 in that vehicle replacement account. But recognizing on July 1st, we restore that with our next budgetary allocation.
And that's why we have that.
Right. And thank you. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a planned savings towards these replacements. So, and the vehicle replacement committee, they did the same thing. They had the same concerns as you both identified. Is this the right time? Is this, what is perception? What is, but what is a reasonable, the fact that this is coming in $100,000 lower than what we were projecting. And I think it comes with more than what we were budgeting for. So, other questions? Yes, Commissioner
I'd like to
McElroy.
make a few comments too on this. I know being new on the board and everything, but I also hear a lot about how much it's going to cost and the money all the time and the burden on the city. I'd like to say, really, I'm not really concerned about the almost $1 million on that piece of equipment because it's a life-saving piece of equipment. And a couple of years ago, it should have been purchased. And the longer we wait, the worse it's going to be. The main concern for the Board of Public Safety should be the safety of the citizens. So I think the fire chief, Emil, and the committee went above and beyond to get the city the discount that they're getting for the piece of equipment that they're getting. We have to remember that there's only, basically, not counting the volunteers right now, there's only 3 fire trucks for the whole city of Torrington that have to cover 40 square miles and run constantly up and down mountains. So the wear and tear on these vehicles for the amount of runs that we do, we got a deal of a lifetime. So if the taxpayers are going to be a little concerned of another little expense, we'll vote on the school with no problem, but to buy a fire truck every 20 years is going to be an issue. I don't like hearing that. So my main thing is the safety of the public. And when they need that fire truck and that ladder and other equipment, I want to see it there.
So-
Again, my concern is I understand that the work that your crew did, but it has to be our job as Board of Public Safety members to look at the spending, how much it costs for public safety. And you have to put a price on it. You know, you cannot put a price on public safety. $1 million is a lot of money to a person that's not working, a person that businesses are closing downtown all through the city. We have to look at what's happening around us. We just can't purchase $1 million equipment. There's not going to be anybody left in the town to put out fires. So we have to look at that. We have to be concerned with the money we spend on this board. And I'm sure through the city, Mr. Castro, is there other vehicles going to be purchased through that account? Police cars, public
Well,
works?
see, we're using this, right now, we're going back to the current fiscal year. It was supposed to be purchased again. We pushed it off, like I said, for 2 years. And it was going to be purchased in 21-22, this coming July. So what happened is after we did all our due diligence and we found out what this demo could do for us, we went back to the 21-22 fiscal year where the vehicle was basically budgeted for $900,000. And so basically we're still saving money on this unit. And like
So
I said, the warranty on this thing is above and beyond.
Is our trucks working now correctly?
The trucks are working now. I can't say they're not working. They're working.
Okay, is
But
there,
a 20-year unit is going to go, okay, I have in front of me, year to date, I mean, I should say life to date, we spent $170,000 in maintenance on this unit. It's not cheap to maintain these units as they get older.
well, your guys do a great job for,
No, our Kingsley Beecher and Dennis Konowski, my two top guys over there, they do very good work. But, you know, as things get older, they get more expensive. Parts are hard to find.
mm-hmm.
And these are specialty units. They're also very hard to sell, to even recoup any monies back.
Okay.
Okay. To the commissioners participating by Zoom, any comments or questions?
I'm all set.
Okay, no, this is Commissioner Battle. I am in support of purchasing this unit now because I also feel as though the money that we save, they came in under what is allocated, and I don't see why we worried about postponing it or because we have the funds. So I think we should actually do this now.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you, Commissioner. All right, well, if there are no other questions or comments, I'm going to call this motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed?
Nay.
All right, so I have, the motion carries. All right, moving on to item 10, I will entertain a motion to consider business by the department heads.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Benedetto. Did I hear a second online?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Coxwell. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so Chief Baldwin, let's start with you if you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things to go over. I sent out a memo this morning regarding your authorization for supernumerary officers that would help to supplement this department. As you are well aware, we are dealing with some manpower shortages, and the supernumerary officer will help us as it relates to working extra duty assignments throughout this city. I don't anticipate a significant amount of supernumerary officers at the onset, but I would like to move forward with potentially having you authorize that endeavor. Many years ago, historically, this department, back in the day when I was a patrolman, we had supernumerary officers that helped to supplement the force. Eventually, that was done away with over the years, as there hadn't been an issue with manpower. But as I see ourselves moving forward and in the reduction of manpower, we can absolutely utilize this type of a program.
Okay, so I just have to ask all the board members, this is a document that was sent out this morning. Did everybody get a chance to see it? All right, so questions to the chief.
Yeah, Chief, I have one more question. I had quite a few and you answered them for me, and I appreciate it. I just had one more that may not be applicable here. Could these supernumerary officers, could they ever be used for fire police? I know the intention is to the extra duty with road jobs and that type of thing, but on occasion during the year, we use and abuse our fire police when it's a major accident or a major fire where they're there for hours. And I know that frees up police officers to do their job or whatever they might be needed for, but could they ever be used in 4-hour shifts like that?
The point right now, as we're looking at the supernumerary program, it's not going to cost the city anything, quite frankly. Any costs associated with this program will be extremely minimal. That type of a situation would require the city to pay these officers for their time at any kind of a traffic incident or a fire or something along that line. These supernumerary officers would be utilized to fill the vacancies that we currently have related to extra duty and construction jobs that officers are assigned to also include other events that are paid by construction companies, for example. So I don't anticipate them. I wouldn't suspect that they'd be able to be used for that type of a program, sir.
Thank you.
So Chief, these officers are certified, or they're still certified after retirement?
Officers maintain their certification for a period of about 3 years. They would be required to maintain their certification. We would ensure that any officer in this program would be a certified officer. All of their certifications would have to be done on their own time and on their own dime. The city would not be paying anything for their certifications.
And how about they'll be on our workman's comp, like physicals will be taken care of?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for the chief?
Chief,
So-
I spoke to a couple of officers about this after receiving your letter, and they spoke very highly about this opportunity. So just kind of getting the feedback from them, I have full support of this. So thank you for the thorough letter.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. And like I said, I don't anticipate there to be a significant number of supernumeraries at the beginning. It is a potential recruitment issue where we might be able to, where officers may join our department, knowing that at the end of their careers, and of course we're talking many years out, but at the end of their careers, they may be able to continue on in some capacity or another.
That's a great added perk. Thank you.
So with this letter, and I know that it was only sent out this morning, Chief, was it your hope that the board could take action on authorizing? Because according to the charter on this, the Board of Public Safety shall have control, management, and supervision, and I'll skip over the rest of that. Right to said board shall have the power to appoint all regular and supernumerary police and call officers subject to the policies of the personnel department. Is there an urgent need for the board to approve this evening? Did you, or is this something that we can add to an agenda for approval in March?
If it's possible to approve that this evening, that would be great, so that we can begin with some policy development and develop get the program moving forward in the right direction. But I'll whatever the board wants to do is fine with me, sir. Yeah.
All right. So if we wanted to add this to the agenda, we'd have to first take a motion to add it to the agenda. And I need.
I motion added to the agenda.
Second.
Okay, so I heard Commissioner Bingham move to add this item to the agenda for consideration, seconded by Commissioner Cogswell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so then the motion we'd be looking for is motion to approve the chief's proposal to utilize the supernumerary police to fill these extra duty positions on an as-needed basis in accordance with his memo dated February 2nd, 2021.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner McLeod. All right, so Commissioner McLeod, I heard Commissioner Cogswell. Questions on this motion?
Chief, I have a follow-up question. Do you already have any retirees that are interested in this? Or is that not able to be this? I mean, is it just be conversations, I guess?
Well, right now there's conversations, but I have one individual that is potentially considering this. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Any more questions before?
Just question, how's the hiring is the subcommittee gonna meet and interview, or are you just gonna hire yourself?
These would be retired officers that are currently certified that would be moved into this position. So that would be the procedure on this.
Okay.
All right, we're all good. I'll call the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. Any other questions? And more report? Anything else, Chief?
Yeah, just a few more things. Two of our officers are completing their field training, officer training right now. They're going to be on the road effective Friday, the 5th. They're very welcome to our regular patrol force. As I stated at the last meeting, we had a promotional exam that was taken on January 15th. We're moving forward with oral interviews that'll be forthcoming. And eventually, hopefully by the March meeting, we will be able to present some potential candidates to the board for their consideration. Right now we are as the mayor had indicated, we're in the budget process. We sent another a letter to, or I sent a letter to you today, Jonathan, from the city clerk's office, sent a letter today to you regarding the costs associated with the accountability, just a factual letter. So that you'll have an understanding of what we're looking at for increased costs to the budget, which is by state statute. Right now, we've had, for the month of January, we had 5 officers that were out on COVID-related illnesses. Currently, I have 1 officer that is out on a COVID quarantine, expected to return soon. All of those officers that were out for COVID have returned back to work. I just want to thank the Torrington Fire Department, Deputy Chief Tripp and Chief Towie for all their help and the calls that we responded to, specifically the bomb threat incident that occurred back on the 22nd on East Main Street at Bocce's Restaurant. Also for they're assisting us at the A&R auto body car fire that occurred back on the 15th. We were there to assist them with the investigation. I also want to thank the fire department, Chief Towie, and again, Chief Tripp and his crew, and also Trinity Ambulance for their response to the police department back on the 15th for a toxic chemical incident in which our custodian mistakenly was involved in a chemical situation that required him to be hospitalized. Chief Towie, Deputy Chief Tripp, both again, it was very much appreciated the efforts that your men did to clear our building, to make sure it was safe for us to be able to continue to operate, and also to Trinity Ambulance for their care and compassion of our employees. So again, I want to thank you very much. And that's it, Mayor, at this point.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? All right, moving on. Chief Towie, anything to add this evening?
Yeah, Mayor, just first want to say thank you for the support on the apparatus. I understand it's a big number, and I appreciate the support in moving forward with that. Just to let the board know, we understand the financial situations. I am still aggressively seeking grant opportunities, and am currently working on assistance for firefighter grant applications for, working on regional level to try to get the radios in so we can make the transition to the statewide radio system, and also doing a grant request for SCBA's to get some new SCBA's into the outdated volunteer SCB, to replace the outdated volunteer SCBA's, as well as a fire prevention grant. And did want to just thank the members of the Vehicle Replacement Committee in Torrington, the Torrington Fire Department. They put a lot of hours in, a lot on their own, a lot of effort. It really was a testament to their dedication, and I appreciate those efforts and their understanding that, we need to look for those cost-saving methods to try to, get that number under what we were projecting.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the chief? All right, Deputy Chief Tripp, anything to add this evening?
Mayor, yeah, I just want to add, I just want to thank CHH, Torrington Area Health, for our vaccination program that's going on, and Community Health and Wellness for continuing with the COVID testing that we do weekly. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Ganong, I think, is on the line also. Anything from Trinity?
Hi, Mayor. Can you hear me okay?
We can, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we did just get our second ambulance, the new ambulance that we got. So we have a total of 8 new ambulances. 2 of them are going to be dedicated to Torrington. So we just received the second new ambulance. We're also purchasing 6 new fly cars also. So they're being built right now. We're hopefully going to be getting them sometime in the end of February. When we do get them, they still have to go through OEMS inspection and receive radios and get wrapped, etc. We're actually going with Chevy Tahoes this time around because they're a little larger vehicle, a little more stout, and you can still get them with a V8 engine in there as well. So we're hoping to have them, like I say, sometime the end of February. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions?
No.
Good. All right. I think that hits it for us for department heads. I'll move into item 12. I'll entertain a motion to consider business by the mayor and members of the Board of Safety.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Benedetto.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner McElroy. And all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, so let's stay to our remote participants. Anything this evening, Commissioner Cogswell?
Just one quick question that could be for both police and fire. Their most recent winter storm, just curious, also as a new member, we have a good working relationship. If there's any calls with Public Works during the height of the storm, I would imagine roads were pretty tough to navigate at certain points. Was it relatively quiet? Was there any issues? Was there?
From the police department perspective, Commissioner, the storm was a relatively quiet storm. We were in contact with the street department manager to discuss any issues that they may be having. So it was actually, for all intents and purposes regarding these storms, it was a quiet storm. We currently have, I've reassigned one of our parking attendants to take care of sidewalk enforcement as it relates to the snow that people put on their sidewalks, or they don't clear from their sidewalks. We're going to be aggressively dealing with those issues. The city ordinance prohibits or requires people to clear their sidewalks after a period of time. So we're going to be looking into that matter as well. So, but as far as the actual storm goes, everything was. I don't want to. It was a good storm, I guess, if you want to put it that way.
There's such a thing.
So fire department, same thing. Just to answer your question, we do coordinate with Public Works. Our crews do have the ability to, call through dispatch if they need to get a plow for a specific address, incident response issue. The Public Works has always been good about sort of diverting resources if they're able to. On the emergency management side, I think all the city departments, police, fire, Public Works, the city, we coordinate, and we're constantly talking throughout the storm, just seeing how people are doing and if there's any supports that departments need or can provide. So I think the storm went smooth the storm did go smooth for us. No major issues. But that coordination is there and does occur on, it occurs on a daily basis, but obviously when we get into these storm events, that gets ratcheted up a little.
Okay, thank you. That's good to hear the coordination. And I this before you were here, Chief Towie, but I've seen it firsthand when there's a snowstorm and a fire that happened, I think 6 years ago on Squire Hill. And I know there was good coordination then, but just was curious that working relationship was still there, which I'm happy to hear. Thank you very much. And I have nothing else. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Benedetto or Bingham, anything this evening?
That's a tough confusion. Thank you, Mayor. Chief Baldwin, yesterday, one of my neighbors let me know they called the police department to let them know that a car was plowed into one of the embankments in our complex. And after they spoke to the gentleman and asked if they needed any help, they said they appeared intoxicated. So they actually called the police department, and the department sent an officer up and patrolled the area. And it was great to see them just respond so quickly. So just wanted to say thank you for your team respond to that so efficiently. Outside of that, I was all set. So thank you, Commissioner Cogswell, for those questions. I was going to ask the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Battle?
Yes, I actually wanted to find out, because I know in our last meeting we talked about drafting a letter in support of the police department because of the legislation. Has that letter been drafted? Are we going to talk to our representatives? Is that going forward?
Yes. So Chief Baldwin is part of his budget preparation also included, and I do believe a copy of that letter will be going out. If it didn't go out to the commission this afternoon, it'll be going out tomorrow morning, just to report to the commission what the impact of that police accountability bill is to the municipality budgetarily. And from that document, I'll be able to call out some of those highlights of the bill that Commissioner Cogswell identified as being concerning. And that I'll put that in a draft that I can circulate to the Board of Safety members for your feedback before we finalize that document. So thank you for asking that. I did intend to report out on that where we are.
Okay, thank you. That's
Sure.
it for me.
Okay. Commissioner McElroy.
I'd just like to thank the volunteers for all that they do. Chief Macklis for that spreadsheet. Torrington Fire Department, Torrington Police Department, for all your hard work and dedication protecting the citizens of Torrington. Really appreciate it. And Trinity also, I see around town quite a bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Benedetto.
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Commissioner McLeod.
Yeah, I just had a couple of quick things. Just wanted to thank both chiefs for the information that they provided us and the phone calls that I think we all got. When we have to make decisions like this, it sure helps when you have all the information in front of you and you have a conversation with the people making the decisions. It made it a whole lot easier, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. So the only thing that I'll add under this item on the agenda is just a quick review of our budget, where we are, and moving forward, how we're going to proceed with this. So the chiefs have submitted their budgets to the financial department. We are putting those together with the city budgets, all of the department budgets. And by February 15th, those per charter have to be delivered to the city council. I have asked our comptroller also to make sure that the safety department budgets are forwarded to the respective Board of Safety members. And then we'll be working on I'm thinking, if we could just take a week and hit it up 2 or 3 nights that week, do a full review of all of the respective departmental budgets so that you have time to digest it. If it ends up being 3 or 4 meetings, it's not a big deal. We'll try to get those done before the end of February so that when we get into March, we can get these things back over to the budget subcommittee And there'll be a thorough review on the budget subcommittee, so that again, everybody sees each one of these budgets in context with the rest of the city, with the exception of the Board of Education. It's flip-flopping it, but I think that the Board of Safety members, everybody that I spoke with said the same thing. You know, you'd prefer to have it first. You want to have your first opportunity to advocate for and to test the, items that are included. So this, I think, actually will end up being a better format for us. So I do appreciate all the Board of Safety members that gave me a little feedback on that. It was important. I do want to just put in a plug. If you have not been to the Bad Dog Brewery, which is in our old historic firehouse, you need to get there. It is just amazing. It's incredible. It's not for the people working on the call, but I think that all of you will be so proud of what these property owners did to preserve that building and the strong heritage and legacy that exists in that building. On Saturday, I had an opportunity to have a soda with Commissioner McElroy. At least he had the soda. So with that, I'm going to move right into, if there are no other questions for me or for the chiefs, I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner. Seconded by Commissioner Bingham. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you all.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.